यानी कि आप हैं क्या चीज?
Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of the podcast. My name is Salil and this is Kyareer Counsaliling. Yes, that's the name, that's what we're going with. This podcast will be an attempt to demystify unconventional careers. A lot of the time, and not just people at a certain age, even people my age or older, have no idea what to do next with their lives, and we have a lot of ideas, but we don't know कि बेटा scope कितना है. So this is what this podcast is going to be about. We're going to talk to a lot of people who have so-called unconventional careers and are still continuing with them, and we're going to talk about things that maybe aren't talked about so openly. Things like money, salaries, things like how long do I need to work before I can actually start getting paid for my art or my service or whatever it is, and how exactly to set about doing that, and how to manage money, which is something I'm hoping to learn from a lot of these people since I suck at that. Yeah, that's what this podcast is going to be about. The first person that we are inviting over here is a dear friend of mine. His name is Siddharth Srinivasan. He's a drummer and plays the keyboards and plays a bunch of other instruments as well. He's a very talented guy. I know him since he was 14 or 15, but that's not what this podcast is about. This is about what he has to teach us about his journey in the music world. All right, Siddharth. So first of all, you want to tell the people a little about yourself and your journey?
So, my name is Siddharth Srinivasan, and I was asked by Salil to do this career counseling yesterday actually. But we weren't talking, we were talking about this for about 2-3 months. And one fine night, because he likes calling me at night, so he just called me and, asked me if I'd like to be a part of this particular thing. And I really think that it's very important that we talk about unconventional careers, and it's very important that we talk about careers that usually people are actually afraid of taking, and that is the whole reason that it becomes an unconventional career.
A lot of people have these thoughts about following a career like yours very early in their life. I just want to know, when did you first think that you want to make a living doing music and thought that it might be possible?
Okay, so I actually started music when I was or something like that, but which means I've been related to music all my life. But when it comes to actually pursuing music as a career option, I actually did not think about doing that before 2016, because I had just completed my graduation in 2015, and I was already a part of a band, and it's still running, and I've been a part of a band since 2012. Now, when I was a part of the band, it's pretty lovely to be a part of a band.
It's very bands as well.
Yeah. So the first band that I joined was called Leaftone, and we were a 3-piece band, and right now one of the guitarist of the band is in Canada. So anyway, I was saying that I started learning drums as such in 2010 properly, and I started teaching a little, one student only actually, in 2012. And जैसे बच्चे आते थे, they would come on and off. I didn't really look at it as a career option, to be honest, in the beginning. Why? Because there is so much stigma related to choosing your hobby as a career. Because until and unless you start making money, it's a hobby. That's the truth about these things. You can't be an engineer and you can't call it a hobby. ऐसे नहीं बोलते, ओ मैं डॉक्टर हूँ, ये मेरा हॉबी है, मैं फ्री टाइम में डॉक्टर ही करता हूँ. That's not what we do. To relieve our stress, we play an instrument, and that's how it's looked at. So, but there's a lot of intricate study behind each and every instrument that you want to learn. So I chose drums after a number of instruments that I actually tried my hand on. Like I started out with Congo, then I went towards guitars, then I started with keyboard, and like in keyboard I was there for quite some time, and then finally I chose drums. But drums, how it was different was that I started off with a formal course. I started off with Trinity Guildhall, and I secured only 2 grades in that. Nothing
Is that a
big. Then,
certification? Can you just, tell us a little about that? Yeah.
yeah. So Trinity. So basically, we here in India we have a few certifications. Like there are certifications for Indian music, which is Prayag Sangeet Samiti, that's the organization which takes care of that in India for Indian music. And then there is the whole UK based learning, which is Trinity Rock School, ABRSM, and whatnot. So basically, when it comes to all these courses, they are basically telling you it's a package. It gives you everything from a beginner to an advanced level instrumentalist, or even a singer for that matter.
How
And
many
it
grades are
tells you, it starts with debut and it goes up to grade 8. So in total, there are 8 grades. But of course, it doesn't end there, because once you're done with grade 8, your career opportunities do open up, because every institute, every school asks for a minimum of grade 8 so that you can be a teacher for that matter, because
okay?
and you can, if you are of a particular level, that means that's the level that the student can reach at max, right? Because you
Okay.
know
Yeah.
that much syllabus, unless and until of course you don't believe in grades and you've done no grades, but you can still teach it. That's a different issue altogether. But so basically, I also did not believe in grades after doing grade 2, because there were a lot of issues with how the institutes around us they teach. They mostly, when you learn from institutes, and when you want to learn quick, because your grasping power is better than the others, they would only go as fast as the weakest link. So you're as strong as your weakest link of the class. So, and my class had a really slow learner. So because of that, it took me 2 years to actually complete just 2 grades. But when I teach, the thing I noticed is that students can go up to they have gone up to grade 4 in 1 year.
Oh,
That's the
wow.
level of speed. Yeah, I mean, so that's, it's not just the way I teach, it's also totally dependent on how the student is able to understand concepts.
It's
And
two-way.
yeah, it's a two-way thing. Like if I teach special education needs students also. I have a few students who are dyslexic and who have learning disability. So it is difficult to get them to that level, of course. Like you can't expect that a kid to get into grade 4 in a year. But yes, some students are above average, some students are average. But on an average, you can do 3 grades in a year. That I've seen on a realistic
Okay.
level.
You said that you sort of lost faith in the grades, but they helped in terms of getting career opportunities and stuff, right? So, in terms of career opportunities, what opened up for you? One, and if you could also tell me a little bit about people that started out a journey in the field of music with you. Uh, how have they fared? And is there a sense of community between you guys?
The only reason I actually lost faith was because of the institutions and the way they taught. But when I saw uh, in 2015, when I started, I enrolled myself into a tourism course, because like all Indian parents, I also have a typical Indian parents who want you to go in a straight line. Why? And they're not wrong, because all of this, which you look at they're all careers which are pretty sure shot. You get into tourism, you then, my mom was like, tourism karo, or it's a side by side karo, but then in 2016, when I actually completed my course in tourism, it was a PG diploma course. Then I realized after giving a couple of interviews that I can make much more money doing music and doing something I love by not even giving a fraction of the amount of time on stage. And that was the particular month when I was giving interviews and I was also performing a lot. So that was March 2016, and I earned around about 50K by doing only 8 shows. So when I did 8 shows, and each show on and off, everything milakar 24 घंटे का time. One show is almost 3 hours on and off with breaks and everything else, right? So 8 into 3, 24 hours of work. I am getting double the amount of money in that. So I saw I saw that if I can work with something like this, I can definitely capitalize on something which is so promising, and I'm just not taking it seriously. And that is the problem with every one of us. Unless and until we take something seriously, we can't actually excel on it, because we have to give time to whatever we do. You want to become an IAS officer, you have to give time to it. Yeah, because everything requires time. So that is when it struck me, because it literally was like the HR of that company said, you are a musician and you can forget about your music life if you join this company, because we'll be making you work 250 hours a month. 250 hours a month, and I was going to get paid 21,000 for that. So that's basically peanuts as compared to what I was earning. And I literally said that to him also. I said, this is what I'm earning right now by doing 24 hours of work, and you're not even willing to equate that. So how will I actually come and work for a company for that long-term basis? So that's when I took it very seriously. I started, literally started pestering potential parents who once upon a time asked me if you would like to teach my child drums. So that's when I decided that I should complete my education. And because after 2012, I straight away gave the next grade in 2016. I was pretty qualified enough to attempt a grade 6 exam, and I gave a grade 6. Then in 2017, I gave grade 8 of rock school.
So
and
you can
I am
skip
a
these
personal
grades.
believer. Yes. In fact, that's what I do with my students as well, because each and every grade is not very cheap if you actually look at it one by one. So each and every grade, it starts at 4,500 for the debut, and it goes up to 11,000 for the final grade. So it's almost on a 500 to 700 rupee per grade it increases, and it finally goes up to 11,000. So if every student does each and every grade, so that's a very expensive course. So what I do is I assess the student, and I teach the student and bring him to that level which I feel that person can attempt. So I had one student attempting grade 3 in 6 months. So that's a student of mine. So that happens a lot. So this is a very important piece of information, that if you actually want to make a career in music, you have to definitely be good at one or the other thing related to music. And I'm only talking about instruments right now, but that is not the only aspect of earning through music. There is the music production. There's also event managing in music, artist management as we call it. So a lot of my friends are into various fields in music, and it really helps if you are a performer and something else in music, because as you can see right now, we are all in lockdown, and there is no scope of a proper paid concert for the next 1 year. So we have to be very practical into whatever field we are getting into, specifically a field which is as unconventional as music. If you want to become a full-time musician, I think that one of the prime things that you should know, apart from just your knowledge on an instrument, is how to capitalize your knowledge on that instrument. Because being one of the good players in the city also won't pay you a lot if you aren't able to market yourself as that. And
Exactly.
if you aren't able to have multiple sources of income through your music, because there are a lot of musicians who are doing corporate job and music, so that's also a particular thing which is going on. So they are doing music, but they are mainly getting their bread and butter through their corporate jobs. So that is also another tangent they use. But I think that if I want to be true to my music, I should be earning every penny from music. If I'm giving, be it giving lessons, be it actually, performing. And to be true, right now I'm really glad that I am in a school. I teach in a school right now, DPS Rajnagar Extension, and I'm really glad that I'm actually in that school, mainly because I'm getting paid even at this time. And no questions asked, I just have to take a couple of online sessions, 30 minutes, basically 1 hour a week, that's it. That's all I have to give, and that's it, I get my salary. Okay, so that happens only if you are dedicated towards a particular field, and if you are able to channelize and capitalize your knowledge and do something about that. So my first job was in 2017, and that's when I saw that I can teach a huge number of students together, and I think that is the basic art of teaching. You should be able to teach to a lot of students effectively, and you should be very, very patient. Specifically when you are teaching in a school, there are a lot of rules involved, and your qualifications will take you to a good career option in teaching music. If you solely want to be a performer, then honestly the grades don't matter. But if you honestly look at it from a long-term perspective, then you will see that this particular thing is very important, that you know how to read music, that you know how to interact with musicians just by having a sheet of paper with the music written on it. So it's very important that people do that, and that people actually get a formal education in music, and nothing of that sort is introduced in the normal school-based system. So that is one of my goals. What I actively achieve is that whenever I get into a school, I introduce and make that a center of rock school, or if I am doing Trinity, then Trinity. Right now I'm only focused on rock school. So my school is the official center of Ghaziabad, one of the official centers of Ghaziabad, for rock school examinations to be held. So if you make a culture of music, you will see more people coming out as musicians and taking unconventional jobs, because such like the thing that we are doing, you and I, Salil, it's very important that it gets out. Not just my art form, but any art form which can have a potential career.
How do you register your institute under Rock School?
That's actually pretty easy, and the people from Rock School are super helpful. I must tell you that, because all you need is 15 students to give the exam. If you can manage to get 15 students in your center, then you will get the certification. That's it. That's about it. You don't have to apply. You don't have to say anything. You just have to request on the call that I have 15 students, so why don't you make my institute the center? And then they will also give you a certificate that this is a certified center.
Okay, so the craft angle of being a musician or being an entrepreneur or whatever is what you do to get to make the art, right? Like a 11-year-old does not
Yes.
sit and dream of practicing drums for 11 hours a day. They dream of tearing their shirt off on stage and throwing like I don't even know what they're called, drumsticks. That's all. And you catch them, and
Yes,
that's
yeah,
what
drumsticks.
they dream of.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
can you just sort of elaborate on, in your experience, how important was the craft, and how rewarding was it to get to do the art?
So the cool stuff is something. The cool stuff is something which comes with your basics. Actually, doing whatever you're doing in the beginning is fun, and actually, what you realize after becoming a musician is that the cool stuff is very important for you to be able to do as a performer, because all the stick flips that you see, everything else, it comes all from basics, and it comes from very basic techniques which people mostly don't practice a lot, but it just keeps on coming as you practice. And to get to the cool stuff and to get to playing something or the other, you should listen to music a lot. You know, you should listen to good bands like Snarky Puppy and Tame Impala. You know, cover all bases from jazz to pop to rock to everything. Because realistically speaking, even when you are performing, to actually get to the level where you want to be able to, you want to play your own thing, take some time and get paid for it. Because mostly you'll see a lot of people just getting into Bollywood because they know it's easy money, right? So it is something which really builds contacts, and it is something which gets you out there. That is the commercial, aspect to it. So it's very important if we are looking at it from that view, that we get into the cool stuff. Yes, the cool stuff actually just comes from years of practice in the basics, and that's why there are so many prodigies out there. You'll see like the 11-year-old kid you're talking about. So 11-year-olds playing for the past 6 years, which means they were actually just 5 when they started playing, and now they are doing really well over the kit. So it's all about the amount of time that you devote to your drum kit, and it's all about the amount of time you actually improvise with the given techniques. Because it's very easy to just go around playing the same technique, but it's very important how you actually improvise on that technique. So showmanship is definitely something even I work on constantly, because I've been told that I am like a dead face when I'm performing. So that's one thing that one thing I still actually would say that is a challenge for me. That if I'm not actually feeling it here, then I can't show it on my face. So if it's something I really enjoy, you will see me enjoying it over the drums. But if it's something that I don't enjoy much, so you will see that also on my face.
Yeah, you're right.
So people are able. Some musicians are able to. Yeah. Some people are actually able to go around the kit playing whatever they like, and doing whenever they're playing with any music, they are able to just feel it. So that is also an art, and the biggest art about music is practice. It's not playing; it's practicing. So it's very important when a person is
Just
able to
repetitive
practice properly.
movements, is what it's all about.
Yeah, everything. You know what persistence is all about. I mean, when it comes to the money factor, the only reason I could actually make money was because I was persistent, that I want to do this as a living. I did not let go, and I will not let go. And I know that I will become even better than what I am today, because I keep practicing. That is the key. You
There is no
can't think
chance that
about the
graph is going down because of lack of effort, and that takes care of everything, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you keep practicing honestly, and if you're practicing the right, if you keep practicing the right way, because there are wrong ways of practice also. Practice doesn't
Somebody
mean
on the
that you're playing
comments
whatever
just
you
said
want.
it's deliberate practice. It's not jab man kiya. Exactly, you just put it in the right words. It's not jab man kiya to kar liya. It's deliberate practice. Work on
Yeah,
it.
her name
Yeah.
is Kiara. Yeah, this one is Kiara, and she's also a musician, in fact, and a pretty good one.
I just want to share with you guys that I have seen Siddharth's journey. Me being an absolute financial nincompoop, uh, who was a few years older than Siddharth, was watching him save money and buy a car and do things like that in his life, which I at almost 30 have absolutely no chance of doing it. So I just wanted to ask that how does money change the perception of the world towards you? Because like I know that when we are practicing an art or trying something, there's a little bit of shame that lives in our heart. That why am I putting
Okay.
myself out there? This I'm probably not good enough to. I'm not this person that I'm trying to become. So does the money remove that, or do you still live with that? If you know what I mean.
Look, the money is also a driving force, and it might not be a driving force for a lot of people who come from moneyed backgrounds, but I know a lot of students, and I teach a few students for free because of the part that they don't have money. But we have to remember that money is something which helps a lot in the process of learning. You know, if two people are the same start line, but one is financially backed, but the other person is struggling to get there on his own, there'll be a huge contrast. If they have the same level of talent, but just one thing is different, and that's money, there'll be a huge level difference in coming years. And I feel that I'll tell you how I started earning and how I started saving up, so that I think maybe that can help out how things changed for me over the years with respect to money and music. Uh, so basically, when I was 18, I joined KFC, and this is a story which a lot of my friends know, but a lot of
Yeah.
people who are looking don't. You know it also. So why I actually worked in KFC was a means to an end to buy a drum kit. That is the only reason that I went to KFC, and but I saw a lot of other things, the ground reality of how things work, how the mechanism of money works. Because I used to get paid 29 rupees per hour. I used to get that, and I used to work for 5 hours a day, 150 hours a month, and after working every day without break, I used to get like 4,500 bucks. All of that I used to give to my mom, because I was thinking कि अगर मैं अपने हाथ में रखूंगा तो I will spend it. So when I used to give that to my mom, I side by side started teaching keyboard at an institute, and also got some more money from there. Then from together with that, in fact, Ujjwal was also a witness to that, because I told him that I'm going to buy a drum kit around December, and I bought the drum kit, which was for 45 grand in December 2012, sorry, 2012 itself. December 2012, I bought the drum kit, and I remember that it was so difficult to actually start your journey with earning money, because I mean, if you are privileged, like I feel I am very privileged, because I have all the creature comforts that a normal human being can ask. A roof over your head, 3 times I get food. If I actually run out of money, if I am actually down, my family is there to back me up. That is the biggest privilege that anyone can get. If you have that kind of privilege, just go and work in QSR like KFC or McDonald's to see what money does to
Exactly.
people who are less privileged than you. Because
Yeah.
when you do something like that, then you understand why you need to save money and what the value
Yeah.
of money really is. And that actually taught me that, because it did help me save, but I saw how hard I had to work to actually get into this particular part of buying a drum kit and understanding the dynamics of money. So that's there. Now after that, I worked in a call center in the in the second year of my college, just for around 2.5 months, because I wanted to see that okay, now I'll be able to work more, and let me see how I'm able to earn more money out of that. From a 4,500 to a 15,000 a month I was earning, but it was a bad job, call centers, and I did everything that I could, going around in circles while doing my music, to understand why I should be doing music, and actually the amount of hard work I'm putting into all these things, why I should be directing that towards my music so that I can become a better musician in the end.
Exactly.
So that is,
You
and
create
being a
your own
musician is a lifelong
traditions.
process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So it's very
Uh,
important. So in 2016, when I actually decided that I want to do music, so I started researching on how I can actually make money through music. And one of the biggest things were to complete your certification, which I did, and approach as many schools as possible. And I'm talking about academic schools and not institutes. I'm not talking about music schools right now. So I'm talking about only academic schools. They are mostly in the lookout for great teachers who can teach how to read music in any one instrument, and that in itself, like if you're a keyboardist, if you're a drummer, if you have some certification, it helps a lot. So I completed my certification, and then I was in a school, Salwan Public School. Then I finally came into DPS, and since it's been around 2.5 years that I've been in DPS now, so that really, and from actually earning as low as 4,500 in a QSR to coming up to um, um, 50,000 in the school level, and that's just working between 8 to 2, and
yeah.
that's the
And
reality.
then you have times gigs which
I'm
don't
not.
happen at that time. Yeah.
Yes. So I have time for gigs, I have time for personal tuitions that I give. So that is all, everything that you want to do, you have energy for that. I have time to keep fit. I have time to spend money on good food, go out, save a lot of money, which is very important, because as Salil mentioned yesterday, the reason I could buy a car was because I used to save a particular percentage of money irregardless of anything. Because the reality that we all have to understand is our career starts um, around 21, 22, but our physical ability to be that efficient starts reducing after 35. So we have to remember that if you want to do stuff with money, we have to be quick about it. Save and burn yourself properly, judiciously, of course, because health is also wealth. So burn yourself in a way that you're able to earn a lot of money wisely, and you're able to save time for yourself as well. So I started doing that. I started teaching. When I started teaching, I used to take 1,000 rupees for 8 classes. Then it went up to 1,500 for 8 classes. Then it went to 3,000 for 8 classes. Then it became 3,000 for 4 classes, and now it's a bare minimum of 1,000 per class. So basically, coming from 1,000 for 8 classes to 1,000 per class takes the amount of knowledge that you can provide and the amount of experience that you have in your pocket. So all your basics should be clear about music. All that you want to do in music should be clear in your head, and that's very important as a musician. What you
Exactly.
want to do, you have to write it down on a piece of paper. And if I have that, I can even show you. I usually keep, yeah, it's here. So this is
Awesome.
my practice schedule. So this is what I do every day. It's very difficult to read because I have a doctor's handwriting. But you can see that, it's 5 hybrid rudiments. this I do every day. Apart from that, I also practice double bass. So that's what I do every day. Every day I am practicing my foot and my hand, and I'm doing some independence exercise or the other, so that I can actually go around, making sure that I'm able to play the drums properly. So it's very important that you do that. Start out with an instrument that you really like, and you really have to be passionate about teaching and all its aspects. Because if you are that myopic that your vision is, not a proper long-term vision, then you will be more disappointed than a normal person going out for a normal job. So you have to be very, you have to look at the long-term prospects of a particular career. Why are you choosing this? Write it down for yourself. Why are you practicing? What do you want to practice? Where do you want to go? That should be clear right here. And when you have all of that clear here, then there's actually nothing which can stop you. Apart from the pandemic, that can stop anything.
That stopped everything.
Nothing. Yeah, that's not everything
So
really, but I mean
I just
everyone is
wanna
looking
I
to
just
it.
wanna point out to everyone here that the life of a musician, at least when I was 14 and I started listening to the Doors and I saw Jim Morrison, you think that the life of a musician is just sex, drugs, and rock and roll. But what the struggle is what Siddharth told you about right now. There are things there, everyone needs a support system around them, and you create that and you maintain them. Like, we all hear stories where people run away from home and pursue their passions, and those are great. But it's also great to keep your family around you and continue to be a contributing member of society and of your family. Somebody's bothering is texting a lot about a few anecdotes. Guys, I just want to let you guys know that anecdotes are aplenty. If we start getting into them, I'm sure Siddharth has nightmare gig experiences that he can tell you. But this is already a pretty demotivational, very demotivational. But there is a gestation period always, is what Siddharth and I are trying to make the point. Uh, at one point, and I'll tell you a little personal anecdote here. At one point, I had to sleep on railway platforms because we couldn't afford hotel rooms because we had a meeting in Meerut or something. Siddharth, I'm sure you must have crashed on more couches than you can count. But it all builds towards something, and that something could be right up in here in your head. If you're starting a YouTube gaming channel today, sorry, padding something, given the whole Kyareer thing, but if you're starting something today, you should have some idea of what you wanted to do. Siddharth, anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if, because my whole job here with Salil is to make sure that all of you understand the realistic aspect of understanding if you really want to do music or not. Because as Salil did say that when he saw Jim Morrison, people thought it's all about sex and rock and roll, and it is also about that. That is also a part of music, undeniably. And but you also have to understand that this is not the reason to get into music anyway.
Absolutely.
You get into the music to actually spread music, because look at it, everything is sex and rock and roll. Everything that you look at is sex and rock and roll. So you have to make sure that when you are into music, that you are able to make sure that everything in your path is set in terms of what you want to do and how you want to do it. And it's not very difficult to become a musician, really. All you need is basic music sense, appreciation of music, and to be able to play an instrument. And the biggest thing that you have to do is market yourself. Keep marketing yourself. You think that you're not good enough. That is the general musician's angst that you will come into. But you have to remember, you have to push past that and keep putting something or the other. Like even if it's like 15 seconds of what you want to show that you can do, put that out there. Collaborate, understand new people, see what you can do with your level of music, and if you are collaborating with someone better, you will get better because your mind will automatically start, adapting to that level of expertise. So you can't be a closeted musician. If you want to be a musician, you have to get yourself out there. And that's the best way to earn money, through performances and through teaching. So that is very, very important. And these two are the pillars of earning money. And I would say the biggest of all this is that you also get into music production. I myself am not into music production. I know how to record my drums and all that, but I am not able to mix and master it yet. But I am pretty much interested into getting into that as well. So if you
And
are able
people
to
who
mix
are
and master, so you
who are
get
interested in music production, there'll be someone coming on next week to tell you about that. So don't worry, there'll be someone to tell you
yeah.
about that.
Yeah, so that is the aspect that that person will tell you, and that is also a very interesting aspect, and there are a lot of courses related to that as well. But when it comes to practical playing of music, the best course that I have seen on a personal level is Rock School for any instrument, any famous instrument. Right now they have the ukulele as well. Ukulele. I don't have it here right now, I guess. But yeah, of course, the ukulele is also there. Yeah, I have the ukulele here. So yeah, so this is basically the ukulele, a very, very small guitar which you must see a lot of people playing. And this is something which is a very easy instrument to actually master. So if someone thinks that it's so difficult to get into music, at least the music sense you can develop by getting into easy instruments like the ukulele, and then move on from that to maybe a little more complex instrument like the guitar or the drums or the keyboard and all that. So that's that. Apart from that, I'd like to show you my setup here. So this is where I play, and this is my small setup, and basically I use this to record drums and send it across. So it's very important that you have like a setup also. A lot of people are not able to afford drum kits. That's why they are discouraged into this particular art form. But right now there are a lot of offers and a lot of second-hand drum kits which are not bad. So why don't you use GarageBand? Okay, that's a question. I think GarageBand I don't use because I have my own sound card. So I just connect this thing. To the computer, and I play. Can you play a drum roll and a cymbal?
Yeah, pardon.
So, yeah, that's my name also. But if you want to watch me, because right now I have to connect everything to it, and it will take a little bit of time. And I really want to get out as much as information that I have, so that you can use it to your benefit.
Advantage.
So yeah, but I'll show you a small thing. So that's just a normal technique which I just sped. I don't know how much you could listen to that part, but that is just like a pad practice sort of a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's there. And when it comes to DAW, I use Reaper because A, it's free, B, it's easy to, A, it's free, and B, it's easy to actually use. So you can go ahead and go for Reaper. There's Logic and everything else as well. And any drum kits you recommend for just a kid wanting to drum roll for fun. Yeah. So you can go for an Indian drum kit which comes for 6,000, 5,000 bucks, not more than that.
Is that
If
what
you
Shadi
just want
band
to play
people
the
have?
drum roll for fun, they use parts of it. They use parts of it because those are really you know cheap and something to practice on. Of course, they are not good quality, but for practice level, it's fine. Like, so that's why people have to, if you want to learn drums, just go ahead. Start off by getting, if you can get a small drum kit for yourself,
Yeah.
5-6 grand, not more than that. And initial investment is something that you do in your studies as well. So you should not look, if you want to do this, then some initial investment has to be done. If you want to see, I have a lot of things lying around which I use. If you are a music maker, you should come on YouTube. So yeah. I am on YouTube and I have already released like 2 of my videos. You can check it out on YouTube under my name Siddharth Srinivasan, or you can just go to my page on my Instagram page, and you can just go ahead and click the link. I have shared the link over there as well.
Adil is asking, what's your top drum solo? What's your favorite drum solo?
My favorite drum solo is when I had a broken leg, and the people who were in front of me in a college fest, they asked me for a drum solo, and of course when there are like um, around 200 people in front of me, all freshers and all that. So I had to play a drum solo. I had no other choice but to play a drum solo with that broken leg. So yeah, that was one of my favorite experiences. So
Somebody's
usually a lot
asking,
of people
are
get discouraged
discouraged
into
because
getting
they
into music
can't
because
buy
they
new
can't buy.
instruments.
Yeah.
Um,
Sure.
I'll give you guys an idea. Like when I was really into jazz and I wanted to learn the saxophone, I went and asked the Shadi band people where I can find the cheapest saxophone, and I bought one for 1,500 rupees. And like always, that stuff is there. Also, I know there's this whole China ki economy khatam karo because coronavirus, but Alibaba.com is also a great place to get cheap instruments, especially wind instruments and harmonicas and stuff.
You can also go ahead and check out OLX. OLX is also not bad. I have actually what you have to look at is if the hardware is not falling apart. And in OLX, you have a good scope of bargaining also. Like you can bargain further when you go ahead and look at the drum kit, and if you're not satisfied, people usually, if it's like it won't be more, if they're selling it on OLX, it won't be more than 10 grand. So you can
Yeah.
bring them down to 8 very easily. And but that 8 grand drum kit will be pretty decent. Like it will be better, way better than an Indian drum kit that you can just buy for 5-6 grand. So that will be better than that. So
If
yeah,
you guys
that's
have
there.
any
But
other
yes, you need
queries and
some.
questions that you want to ask Siddharth, please follow him
Yeah,
on
please do.
Instagram. He's also on YouTube. On Instagram, it's Badamtus. So I think we'll wrap up this conversation. If you guys want to see more of this conversation, sure, we can bring Siddharth back another time and we'll talk about that. But just if you could sum up your message to kids that are trying to get into music today in 5 or 6 lines.
Okay, just to close, a life of music is a life which you will not regret. If you want to become a musician, I can guarantee this to you on a personal level, and I'm always available on Instagram and other social media platforms to answer anything that you have related to music, a career option, or anything like that. Whenever you have a question, you can go ahead and ask me. Apart from that, if you are planning to pursue music, it's a very good and bright career because there are a lot of unconventional careers coming into play, and you want to be a part of that as well. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Siddharth. I think this was lovely. There were so many people interacting and answered a lot of questions, including how much money can I look to make. Guys, if you are trying to get into music, please, and certain people in your life aren't on board with that idea, maybe you can show them this video. मेरे तो views बढ़ेंगे ही, but also that might help you. So thanks Siddharth. I guess we'll see you next time. See you, man. Good luck.
See you.
If you enjoyed that conversation, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll be back right here on this channel next Saturday at 6 p.m.
Kyareer Counsaliling. Kyareer Counsaliling. एक बात बताएं कि आपकी औकात क्या है, यानी कि आप हैं क्या चीज।